Okay, welcome everyone. So on today's video, we'll be talking about CSS selectors to select. So let's dive right in. So we have 5 different divisions of CSS selectors. So first and foremost, what is a CSS selector? A CSS selector selects the HTML element you want to style. Okay. So a selector selects the HTML element you want to style. CSS selectors are used to find or select the HTML element you want to style. We can divide CSS selectors into 5 categories. We have the simple selectors, and they select element based on name, ID, and class. That's the simple one. Then we have the combinator selectors. They select elements based on a specific relationship between them. We have the pseudo class selectors, select elements based on a certain state. We have the pseudo element selectors, select and style a part of an element. We have the attribute selectors, select elements based on attributes or attribute value. So we'll be talking about the most important ones. So let's start with the CSS elements selector. Okay, so let me copy this. So element selector now. How do we start using element selector? So that's CSS element selector. Okay. The element selector selects HTML element based on the element name. So let's say we want to style paragraph now. So let me bring a paragraph here. So P. So let me say I just say element selector. Okay. Alright, so you can see here now this element selector. So we can style this HTML using an element selector. You know these elements, this P, this is okay. So we'll select this P here and we'll style whatever is inside. So we'll go to your style sheet, CSS. You must have linked your CSS to your HTML. You can see I've linked it here. Okay. Alright, so let's style it. Let's style our P element. So what do? You select P. You can see that P is your selector. So you are selecting the P now. Look, we are styling whatever is in this P here. This P element. Okay, so let's style it. So let's give it a text align center. That means we want it to be at the center. You can see automatically it's at the center. Then let's give it color. Let's give it a color of red. You can see automatically it is red right now, right? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do. Okay, so you can see now. So I've styled this using the element selector. So the next thing we're going to do is what? The CSS ID selector. So let me delete this now. I believe you understand this now. Elements. This is the P element, right? So whatever is inside this P tag is what we are styling. So we call on the P. If you're using element, just call on that selector. So P. So we styled it. Text align center, color red. So I'm going to be deleting this one now, so that I can style something else. So we're going to the CSS ID selector. So let me change this to ID selector. So ID selector, right? So now we have a paragraph here. We have a paragraph here already. Huh? So let's give it an ID. So come to this place here, write class. So write ID. ID. So let's give it an ID para 1. So we're giving it an ID name, so we can style it using the ID name. So the ID name is para 1, right? Let's copy it. Copy. Then go to your CSS. Now I want to style using ID. So for you to start using ID, you use your hash. You bring hash. Okay. Then the name of your ID. So let me paste it now. Let me come again. You copy the ID name. And one thing about ID is that ID is unique to a particular element. So like this paragraph now can only have one ID. Or in all your codes, you can have one ID for different items or for different elements. So in this case, I will have paragraph. Here, I will give it an ID name of para1. So I copied it. So for me to call on that ID, I have to type hash first. So hash, then para. Then bring your curly braces. Now, let us give it an instruction. Let's give it a rule. So let's say test align should be center. You can see now, obviously, this paragraph is now in the center. So let's do something else again. Let's give it color red. You can see it is now at the center and also the color is red. Now, that's for CSS ID selector. I believe it's clear. So let me delete this. Let me delete this now. Let's just go into another one, which is what the CSS class selector. So let me change this to class. So we want to start using class. So we'll give the paragraph a class, not ID now. Okay. So let me delete this. Let me bring another paragraph. So let's say class selector. Okay. Write paragraph. Paragraph class selector, whichever way. So I want to style this using a class. So I'll come to this paragraph here, this part here, and I'll give it class. Okay. So let's give it a class name. I want to call it center. The class name should be center. So now for me to style this using the class selector, what I'm going to do is I'll copy this class name, which is center, copy. Then after copying, go to your CSS. Now what I can just do is so simply put dot. To style using class, you use dot. Okay, so dot. So paste the name of the class, which is center. Bring your curly braces. Okay, so let's see. Now we'll say test align center. You can see the center right now. Then color. Let me give it color of blue. You can see the color is now blue, right? So that's how to use the CSS class selector. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is so you can also specify that only specific HTML elements should be affected by a class. So to do this now, so we can have, let me delete this. So we can have two paragraphs. Let me delete this also. Let me delete this. So you can have two paragraphs. So let me bring a paragraph. This is a paragraph. Okay, this is a paragraph, right? So let me have two paragraphs. Let me copy this. Okay, let me paste this. So let me give it a class. Let me call it para2. Okay. So now let me copy this. Let me have two paragraphs. copy this. So let me paste this now. So now I have two paragraphs, right? You can see this first paragraph has the name para2. Second one also has the name para2, right? Good. Now I want this second paragraph. I want to give it like two class names. Right now it has one class name, which is para2. Let me give it on that class name. Let me say hello. Okay. So now I can style this paragraph using class selector. I can select, if I want to select only this first one, I will just say para2. If I want to style only this one, I will style the two classes. So let's just test it now. So I want to style only this first paragraph. So I'll copy the class name. So I'll say dot para2, right? So now let's say color red. Okay. Now as you can see now, para2 appears in both paragraphs. You can see it appears here, it appears here. So any paragraph that has that class name will be affected. Are you seeing? So me copying this para2 will affect any paragraph that has para2 as a class. Do not forget that this second one has more than one class. It has para2 and also hello. So long as it's only para2 that you styled here, to affect both paragraphs. But now let's now see how we can have. I can now select only this particular one, because this one has two classes, right? So let us select, I want to select only this particular one, not both of them. So what we can do is to simply, let's come here. You can see this para2, right? So if I want to select only this particular one, okay, if I want to select this particular one, since they both have para2, and if I call on para2, both will be selected. So you can style it using only this particular one, which is p.hello. So let's come now. You can see it has two names, right? p.hello. So let's style this. Let's see. So let's see color red. You can see only the second one is styled now, because we're calling on the paragraph with a class hello. It has two classes. You can call on any class. You can see, you can call on hello, you can call on para. See now, if I call on hello, that second will be selected, right? Let me see para2. You can see both are selected because both have this class name para2. So any paragraph that has the class you are styling to be selected. But if you want to select only this one, you can either call on hello or call on this and it will be affected. Okay, let me add one more class to it now. Let's say hello hi, right? So let me call on hi now. So you see that. So that's p.hi. You can see this second one is also selected, but the first one is not selected because it does not have a class called hi. It only has a class called hello. So these are to style using class that has more than one class name. So the next thing, let's talk about universal selectors. So let me delete this. Universal selectors. So when you see universal means something that affects everything. So universal selector, right? So this one affects everything. Do you understand? So you use So let's see our HTML. Our HTML only have 2 paragraphs so far, right? So let me bring something else. Let me say H1. H1. Let's say hello world. Okay. So now I want to style everything on my web page. I want to style both hello world, everything once. So universal, when you use the universal selector, it will style everything on the web page. So let me use universal now. So what I'll do is just put your asterisk #shift8. So bring your curly braces. So whatever you type now will affect everything on the web page. So let's say text align center should be center. You can see it is now at the center now. Then let me give it a color. So let's say color blue. You can see the whole color, everything on the web page is now styled because I'm using the universal selector, which is, and you've selected using your star or your asterisk. Do you understand? Your asterisk #shift8. So that's how to use universal selector. Then we have what's called the CSS grouping selector. How to group. So let me delete this. So we have a grouping selector. Grouping selector. So the grouping selector selects all the HTML elements with the same style definition. Okay, so we can select multiple selectors. Can select multiple elements. So let's see now. From our HTML we have paragraph, right? Let me delete this. Let me bring a paragraph. Let me just say hello. Then let me bring H1. Let me say welcome. So let me bring H2. Let me say hello, welcome to my channel. Okay, so now I have P. I don't know why I use this. I have paragraph, I have H1, I have H2. Okay, so for example, I want to style these 3 elements with the same. I want to give them the same styling. For example, I want to say paragraph should have the color of red, should be at the center. The same thing with H1, should be at the center, should have the color of red. So H2, I want to be at the center and also have the color of red. Instead of doing it separately, I can just select them together. I can select P, H1 and H2, then just style it together. So let's see now. So let's select this. So this grouping selector. So I have P, H1 and H2, right? So I can just say P. Okay, let's just style it. So this is P, right? So let's say text align center, right? That's for P. Then what do I have less? I have let me give it the color of red too. Color red, right? This one is selected, right? Then you can see this individually I'm doing. So let me bring H1. Let's say text align center, color red. Instead of doing this, I'll show you the grouping now. Color red, right? You can see now H2 now. H2. So text align center, color. Sorry, color. Color red. color red. Okay, so imagine I'm giving you the same styling. Instead of doing this one after the other, I can just do grouping. Mean that I can select P H1. So these also are given to them, right? Let me just copy this. Now let me delete everything. Now I've deleted everything. I want to use grouping. So what I can just do is simply I'll say P, comma, H1, comma, H2. By so doing, I've selected 3 of them. So since I'm giving it the same styling, what I will do is I just hit test align center. You can see everything automatically has been centralized. The next thing I want to do now is give it a color red. Now everything automatically has been centralized. So this grouping selector will give you an advantage to save time instead of selecting individually, and that is if you are giving these elements, if I give them the same attributes. You can see that I said test align center color red, so I'm making everything red. I'm making everything center. That's why I'm using group selector. Do you understand? So that's the advantage to this. So I believe you have found this video very helpful. Okay, and if you have any question, you can always drop it in the comment section. If you found value in this particular video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also leave a like. Turn on your notification bell so that whenever I upload video, you won't miss out from it. Share this video to your friends and your loved ones. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have any question, please leave it in the comment section. I'll answer your questions. Thank you very much. If you're looking for how to, if you don't know how I got this particular preview, just download light preview from your extension here, or you can check my previous video on syntax, CSS syntax. You see it. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video.